Listen, no doubt that we are in some weird times. A few weeks ago, if I would have told you, hey, you know what, we need to start planning for a government shutdown of the whole entire economy just in case there's a pandemic, you would have thought that I had three heads and, horns coming out of them. All right. But one of the things I want to do with a series of a few videos is kind of maybe hone back into some of the realities of things because we've I've been through a number of downturns, not exactly like this, but I've been through market downturns. And one of the things that happens during these cycles that is the same all the time is that people lose money, and they lose lots of money, and they lose lots of money because they just get kind of, I don't want to use the word because it's kind of crass, but they get kind of real stupid about their money. They panic, and they make really emotionally bad decisions. But what happens is, again, during this period is that people want to search for that perfect investment. Okay, that term always during these times becomes increasingly popular, as some investment accounts have obviously been pummeled, and some people have been tired of that. Obviously, maybe you've been hit a couple of times. There's 9/11, then there's 2008, 2009, then there's this period. So you might obviously be tired of it. And you start to lose faith, you start to lose patience, and you want to go on and see, okay, what's the perfect investment out there? Of course, that's going to make you whole with no risk and amazing returns. But I'm here to tell you this about the perfect investment. The perfect investment is no different. Searching for the perfect investment is no different than searching for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It doesn't exist. All right. The financial industry, the main goal of the financial industry is to peddle investments. And especially now, I hear from the real estate guy and the real estate owners that say, told you that the market was going to go down. You should have had all your money in real estate. Then the annuity guy is saying, told you the market is going to go down. You should have had all the money in annuities. And then, of course, the gold and silver people are saying, yeah, you told you that the economy was going to crash. You should have had all your money in gold and silver. And then there's the Bitcoin guy out there somewhere that says you should have money in Bitcoin. But let's not forget that all of those are perfect investments only because of where we are right now. Okay. One of the things you have to take into consideration with perfect investment is that the truth of the matter is that this perfect investments can become the worst investments. Because it depends on many variables. It depends on your time frame, how close to retirement you are, your risk, your objectives, your emotions, and most importantly, and as it is a factor, is how much money do you have? Okay, let's face it, the more money you have, the more resources you have, the more avenues you have to search, the more diversification you have, the different types of asset classes that you can have. Okay, and if this one goes down, it's really not going to affect this one here. But the less money you have, the less avenues you have, the less selection you have, the less choices you have. It's the truth, folks. The person who has $100,000 cannot invest in any way, shape, or form like the person who has $1, $2, $3, $5 million. It's just not going to happen. Okay. The other thing to remember about the perfect investment is that if there really was a truth that there is a perfect investment, then why do we have that many choices? We would only have one choice, okay? The perfect one. We don't need anything else if there was truly a perfect investment. You see, everything that you have to know about investments is that it's nothing more than a balance, okay, of risk and return. We've heard it before. The higher the return, the higher the risk. The lower the risk, then the lower the return. Every investment also has their pros and cons. Okay. But one of the things to understand is that, life is not static. All right. So these pros and cons change depending on what your situation is at a certain time. You might be in this situation right here and you have, you're shown an investment, and you know what? You make a decision to invest in that investment based on the pros and cons, but those are the pros and cons at that time. All of a sudden your life changes, and what was a pro all of a sudden can become a con. So again, an investment is nothing more than you're taking the pros and cons of those investments and kind of balancing them out. Okay. So for any investment you select that will be part of your overall game plan, an investor has to compromise within themselves of these positives and negatives of each of these investments. So as we move forward, this period through this period, there's two things that you definitely have to think about. Number one, you have to stop looking for that perfect investment. It doesn't exist. It never has existed. Okay. And number two is you need to stop making investing that difficult. It really isn't. Because of all the information that you're bombarded, it becomes difficult, but it really is not. You need to be more concerned about building a plan that fits your overall objective. If you're still working, making contributions into your 401k, then you got to make sure that you have a very broadly diversified portfolio and very low cost index funds, and where you again it meets your risk tolerance and the costs are way low. So even with many times like these, all right, in the past, a broadly diversified portfolio has provided very generous returns over time. All right. If you're close to retirement or retired, we still consider investing in the market, okay, in some way, shape, or form. But we are more concerned and more concentrated in protecting our retirement income, that reliable retirement income, than we are about market growth. Market growth will be a factor, okay, and we will position some for that. But the main concentration is you gotta have income, okay? You gotta have that guaranteed reliable income coming in every month. So as we get out of this period, little by little, I want you to think about the next steps and what you're doing, and start kind of rethinking about a plan, all right, versus what's the next best thing out there that will probably end up costing you a lot more money. So with that, I'll see you next time on Financial QB TV.